Hello everyone, and welcome to the Geoffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 232. We're going to talk a little bit more about Geoffrey Berman and his removal from his post as the acting Attorney General at SDNY. Now, you all know that I am not a big fan of Geoffrey Berman. He has never done anything in his career that would make me sit up and take notice of him. At best, he was a decent prosecutor. At worst, he is part of the problem. So believe me, I'm not crying any tears for Berman being removed from his post. He is part of the problem. With that said, what in the hell is the Department of Justice doing? We're 5 months out from an election. You fire this guy on a Friday night to try and bury it. And for what reason? There's no reason given. And I understand that this is part of the executive branch and that all of these attorney generals and people who work for these sorts of bureaus serve at the discretion of the president. I get it. But what's the game plan? It already looks absolutely terrible having Barr anywhere near this case. And now he's going to fire the prosecutor who was investigating Jeffrey Epstein's associates? And he's going to replace him with a man who has ties to Deutsche Bank. And the circle continues, folks. The retreads and the people who have been around forever in what they call the swamp continue to rear their ugly heads and continue to cause misery. There is no good reason why a guy who has never been a prosecutor before should even be recommended for the post. This is the SDNY we're talking about here. There are a lot of high-profile cases coming in and out of that office. And you're going to expect us to have any faith in what goes on there when we're all witnessing what a dumpster fire it is? You folks can't even keep your story straight. Who's coming and going? Is Berman going to be there till July 3rd? Is it effective immediately? Who's going to be the replacement? Oh, we nominated this other character who was hanging out at Deutsche Bank as well. But, you know, it's all good. Everything's cool. Just trust us. I'm Bill Barr, and I say that this is an all right guy. We've been friends for a long time. You can trust me. Listening to Bill Barr and him saying that we could trust him and we just have to take his word for it is like being Andy from Child's Play and listening to Chucky. The same result is going to end up. It's going to be bad for everybody who listens to this guy at this point, because I have to tell you, there is zero evidence pointing me in the direction of Bill Barr being an honest, straight shooter. He doesn't seem to be any of those things. And we can go back to his first tenure in this position. And we can go back to when he was involved with the Bush administration. The man is involved with all of these people. He knows them. He has rubbed shoulders with them. And we cannot expect him to be an arbiter of truth here. All of these people, every single one of them that has been involved with this Jeffrey Epstein case or involved with entities that have been involved with Jeffrey Epstein, should be nowhere near the prosecution end of this case. But yet we still see them popping their ugly faces up. Krista Marks, Bill Barr, the list goes on. And they expect us to take anything that's coming out of the SDNY seriously? I'll tell you what, every single investigation that they're conducting right now is in question. What in the world is going on over there, and not just over there, but what is going on in the Department of Justice as a whole? It is absolute mayhem People running around with unchecked powers, no oversight, and they're continuously screwing whoever gets in their way. I'm really getting sick of there being no oversight for these people and for there being no repercussions for their behaviors and for their inactions. Now again, do not get me wrong. I am not a fan of Geoffrey Berman, and I don't think that he's a man that should have even been in that position, to be honest with you. But removing him is inevitably going to set the investigation back at least a few months, and especially if you got this Clayton guy coming in there. He's never been a prosecutor in a capacity such as this. He doesn't know the case, or maybe he does. Maybe he's, you know what, if I'm being cynical, he knows all about the case, and maybe he's being brought in to help drag his feet. That's what the cynic in me wants to say. I don't have any evidence that points that way, but at this point, does anyone doubt that all of these people are connected? There sure are a lot of coincidences, huh? Look, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know why Berman was removed, and I don't know what's going to happen going forward. What I do know is this. We're going to be right here, breathing down their necks, making sure that no BS is occurring. And if it does, well, I don't even have to say it. I already know the deal. I already know that everybody out there listening to this will not let them get away with it. And we just have to keep the pressure on, folks. We have to keep the pressure on, and we have to keep our foot on the pedal and keep that pedal all the way down to the floorboard, because there's no time now to let up. And hopefully, I guess we could look at it optimistically. I know, it's a stretch. But looking at it optimistically, perhaps one of the other prosecutors in the office is in charge of the Epstein case going forward, and they're more of a hard charger, somebody who is really serious about justice. Are there any prosecutors like that left in the SDNY? In fact, in the whole nation? I don't know. I certainly don't have any faith in them anymore, folks. And what little faith I did have has certainly been crushed in the past 4 years. Because what we have witnessed in the past 4 years especially has been an absolute joke. An absolute embarrassment. We have not seen equal justice under law, and all we have seen is political infighting from the factions. Meanwhile, the people who put these idiots there are the ones who continue to suffer. There needs to be accountability in the Department of Justice especially, but in every single one of these bureaucracies. And there is no accountability ever. And from where I'm at and where I'm sitting, I have had enough of it. The hypocrisy and the willingness to lie at every turn to further their narrative and to consolidate their power is a story that has been told one too many times, and nobody wants to hear it ever again. All right, so our article tonight is from ABC News, and the headline is, Berman relents, leaves post as U.S. attorney after taking stand against firing. And remember, last night we were going into the legalese of it all, how he wasn't appointed by Trump, he was appointed by the court, so he was going to stay there until July 3rd, etc., etc. While I thought that he had a decent legal argument, at the end of the day, all of these guys serve under the president and at the president's whim. If he wants to fire every attorney general in the country, that is up to him. And it's not something new under Trump. That's how it's always been. But these are the rules, right? And Berman, he wasn't having it. He said last night that he planned on staying all the way till July 3rd. Well, according to the headline here, he has relented and he is going to step down immediately. The author of this article is Catherine Falders, Alexander Mallon, and Aaron Katersky. And that's pretty interesting, too. Of note, Aaron Katersky was the one who reported that Jeffrey Epstein allegedly committed suicide. He broke the news with the tweet. All right, on to the article. Geoffrey Berman, who served as the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, said in a statement Saturday evening that he will leave his post effective immediately. Boy, his tune certainly changed, huh? Because when we left it off this morning, well, that wasn't the case. And again, you know how this works. The phone calls start, the pressure begins, and before you know it, you are in the oil fire. And that's what's going on here for Berman, of course. He was getting pressured from all corners, I'm guessing, of his fellow attorney generals and people at the Department of Justice, etc., etc. The statement came soon after President Donald Trump sought to distance himself from the firing of Berman, publicly contradicting a letter sent earlier in the day to Berman by Attorney General William Barr, who said Trump removed Berman after Barr requested it. And as far as I know, that's the case. So Barr requested Berman be removed, and Trump, who has the overall power to either approve that or deny it, approved it and gave Barr the go-ahead to remove Berman from his position. Now, why that is the case and why now? Why did Bill Barr make this move now? I don't know yet. I have a few ideas, but I need to do a bit more research and find out some more facts here before I start firing off, what I think truly is occurring behind the scenes. This is a very fluid situation, a very new situation, but what I do know is something stinks. There is no reason why he should get fired on a Friday like that, 5 months out from an election, and try and bury it within the news cycle. It does not make sense. When you're somebody who follows the news as rabidly as we all do, we know about Friday dumps. I've talked about those here on the podcast a lot of times. They love Friday dumps because they think we're too busy with what's going on in our lives to catch what they got going on. But nowadays, you ain't slipping nothing by us. Berman made clear Saturday evening that he opted to leave office effective immediately because Barr decided to respect the normal operation of law and have Deputy U.S. Attorney Audrey Strauss become acting U.S. Attorney, instead of Barr's hand-picked replacement, Craig Carpentino. Look, let's just pause right here, okay? Let's not act like Audrey Strauss is going to be better than Craig Carpentino. Let's not act like Audrey Strauss is coming in there with some sort of, this I'm going to save the world sort of mantra. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. The onus is on them to prove differently at this point. Because, folks, I have to tell you, it does not matter who is in these positions, it seems. None of them have the courage to pursue this case the way that they should be. Earlier in the day, Trump told reporters, I'm not involved. Yeah, I know, just like you didn't hang out with Jeffrey Epstein, just like you guys weren't friends. Nobody's ever involved. Nobody ever knows anything. I get it, Mr. Trump. I get it. When asked about the firing and said, that's all up to the Attorney General. Okay, I guess it is. I mean, if Barr is making that move, if we're talking about in literal terms, yeah, if Barr decides to make that move, it's Barr's decision. But the president can override him if he wants. He is the president after all, and he is in charge of the executive branch. So for Trump to act like it's all on the Attorney General, that's very disingenuous from where I'm sitting, and we're going to have to call that one out and give him a few Pinocchios. Because, come on. But Barr in a letter said he asked the president to get involved after Berman's release of a statement Friday night in which he contradicted the Attorney General, saying that Berman was planning on stepping down from his position. And I guess there must have been a miscommunication when Berman and Barr had their meeting in the Manhattan Hotel to discuss all of this. According to Barr, Berman knew that he was going to step down and everything was kosher. Well, fast forward to the announcement being made and then Berman's response, and you see that that is not the case. And again, it comes down to this. Who do you think is the bigger liar? Who is the bigger scumbag here? I'm torn, to be honest with you, because I'm not a fan of Berman. I think Berman is part of the problem. So I'm not crying any tears about him leaving. In fact, I think the whole entire SDNY should be fired, and it should be populated with people who want to do their job. But I guess that's neither here nor there for this article. But the fact of the matter is, for Trump to act like he didn't know anything about it or he wasn't involved, that's just such BS. Because you have declared that you have no intention of resigning, I have asked the president to remove you as of today, and he has done so. Well within his rights. Look, let's be fair. All right? You know I'm not going on no wild ride of hating anybody on the podcast without good reason here. I'm not going to just hatchet job people for no good reason here. We're going to follow the evidence is what we're going to do. All right? And the president, any president, is well within their bounds to do what Trump did. Does that mean it's the right thing to do, in my opinion? Hell no, it is not. But it is well within his ability as the sitting president of the United States to make this move. And I've seen people decrying it like it's not within his power to do this, or it's out of the ordinary for an attorney general to get fired. It is not. What is out of the ordinary is for the timing right now is very odd. Very odd indeed. The Justice Department didn't immediately respond to a request for a comment on the president undercutting Barr's letter. In his letter, Barr wrote that he was making the move because of Berman's reaction to his attempted firing by Trump on Friday night. They can't even get their stories together right now. Trump and Barr are at odds with their stories. I mean, what is going on in this administration? Are these guys not even communicating? Is it just a free-for-all? I mean, what the hell is really going on within our government right now? The surprise move by Trump came 2 years into a tenure that included the prosecution of Michael Cohen, the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein, and charges filed against 2 associates of Rudy Giuliani at the heart of the Ukraine impeachment inquiry. And let's be real. Again, let's be real. That is why the legacy media is freaking out and why they're covering this right now. It has nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, folks. Remember that. To them, it's all about Michael Cohen, Rudy Giuliani, Lev Parnas, etc., etc. They feel like this is another vehicle for them to perhaps finally get their guy and take down Trump. Meanwhile, those of us who are following the Jeffrey Epstein case are standing here with our hands up, wondering when anyone is going to do anything to bring justice to these survivors. We going to have any congressional hearings, any senatorial hearings, anyone in power going to step up and step forward and say anything about it? Or no? I guess we all know the answer, considering it's been 4 administrations and nobody has had the courage to do the right thing. In his letter Saturday, Barr noted that he had offered Berman other positions in the administration, including head of the Civil Division at Maine Justice. Okay, so that's another thing that doesn't make sense to me. Why would he offer him another position at Maine Justice, but try and get him out of SDNY? It does not make sense. What is Barr up to here? What is his end game? That is what we must ask ourselves as we continue to follow this story. We have to ask ourselves, what is the end game here? And, of course, we have to dig deeper into all of the players. The new guy coming in, we have to dig into Strauss. We need to dig into Craig Carpentino and find out who these people are. What their relationship to Barr is. Do they have any relationship to Epstein or any of the other players? Because that is the only way we're going to get to the truth. If we expect the legacy media to do that for us, well, we're going to be in for a long, long time and a long, long wait. But I wonder why Berman would be offered another job at Civil Division, and furthermore, I wonder why he would decline the offer. But Berman declined the offer and was subsequently fired, with Barr assigning Craig Carpenito, the U.S. Attorney in New Jersey, to lead the office on an interim basis. It is unclear whether Carpenito will still take over the office effective July 3rd, with Strauss now taking over for Berman. Berman issued a statement late Friday saying he had no intention of taking the firing in stride. Well, look, again, Berman is grandstanding here. All right, he had this job for 2 years. They arrested Jeffrey Epstein in August. They're sitting on mountains of evidence, and they never moved. Do not cry for Geoffrey Berman. He's no good guy here. He's nobody that's worth our tears. In fact, now that he's not involved in this case, he's not even worth thinking about anymore. That's how inconsequential he is, and that's how inconsequential his legacy will be. We have bigger problems. We have bigger issues. We have more important things to do. And now, whoever the new Attorney General ends up being, the interim, the acting, then they need to be, we have to put the pressure on them now. I learned in a press release from the Attorney General tonight that I was stepping down as United States Attorney, he said. I have not resigned, and I have no intention of resigning my position, to which I was appointed by the judges of the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. I will step down when a presidentially appointed nominee is confirmed by the Senate. Boy, he sure was standoffish there, right? This is a guy that was acting like he really had a leg to stand on. He capitulated quickly, huh? That's the kind of guy we want going after Epstein? No thanks. None of these people are capable, it seems like. Barr, Berman, any of these clowns. The whole entire Department of Justice is populated by clowns. Until then, our investigations will move forward without delay or interruption, he continued. I cherish every day that I work with the men and women of this office to pursue justice without fear or favor, and intend to ensure that this office's important cases continue unimpeded. Okay, so what cases are you actually chasing down that are being, impeded? Besides the Jeffrey Epstein case, because you have no interest, I guess, in chasing that down, but you'll chase down all the other bullshit, all your little political squabbles you'll chase down to the ends of eternity, huh? So again, people are crying about, politics. It's politics everywhere you look. Both sides are engaged in ridiculous tribalism at every turn. What, you don't think this is tribalism? That is exactly what this is. Berman pointed out that his appointment in 2018 under law, after being confirmed by a panel of district judges, dictates that he can only be replaced as U.S. Attorney once a new presidential appointment is confirmed by the Senate. But in his statement Saturday, Berman wrote that it has been the honor of a lifetime to serve as the district's U.S. Attorney and a custodian of its proud legacy, but I could leave the district in no better hands than Audrey's. Oh, give me a break. Give me a break, okay? I already told you where I'm at. I don't think anybody at the SDNY has capable hands at this point, okay? It is time for this case to get kicked to a different office. An office that is not a shit show. An office that has some stability, and an office that has a few agents with some integrity. The people in New York, the people in Florida, way too close to this case. Kick this shit to Montana. Something like that. Barr in his letter had said that the president has total authority over U.S. attorneys and has the ability to remove them at his own discretion. Barr's Saturday letter appeared to formalize in writing the administration's initial attempt to remove Berman late Friday night by misleadingly announcing he was stepping down effective July 3rd. Misleading. It's so stupid. It's so stupid, all of this nonsense. There's zero explanation for any of it. Barr's letter additionally says that office supervisors will be expected to report any instances of inappropriate interference in ongoing cases in the office to the DOJ's Inspector General. Well, we know he's done a fantastic job, huh? Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, someone we can really rely on. The Inspector General. Again, well, if something is wrong, report it to us and we'll investigate it ourselves. I'm tired of it. We need an independent commission, an oversight committee that oversees all of this. Nobody who's close to the police, nobody who's close to the prosecutors, an independent commission made up of people from a pool of I don't know where, but we'll have to figure it out because this is just unacceptable. We're going to expect the Inspector General to right the ship? When has the Inspector General ever been able to do that in any administration? Talk about a job with no pop. Trump intends to nominate Jay Clayton of the Securities and Exchange Commission to replace Berman. The Attorney General has known Jay Clayton for years and holds him in high regard, a Justice Department official told ABC News. Jay was getting ready to leave the administration and go back to New York. He expressed interest in SDNY. The Attorney General thought it was a good idea. He offered Berman other positions, including head of the Civil Division at Main Justice. Berman declined. That's that. What? So I guess we can just, hire whoever we want to come in and be an Attorney General? Maybe I should run for president and then just hire one of my boys from high school to come in and be the Attorney General. One of my friends who works in casino management or something. I mean, what the hell? It's a free-for-all, right? It's not like we can expect any justice anyway. It's not like any of these lawyers pay attention to the Constitution. So let's just get a bookmaker in there. I'll become president, and I'll hire a bookmaker to be the Attorney General. This is all so ludicrous. Berman's tenure included several politically sensitive investigations, like the case against Trump's former personal attorney, Cohen. He was named the interim replacement for former U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara in 2018 by then Attorney General Jeff Sessions. And again, every time I see Preet's name, I want to bash my head off of the wall. There's another guy that had no idea what justice is. He can't even spell justice. And for him to sit up there and preach from his white ivory tower, my dude, where were you when Jeffrey Epstein was on his reign of terror? Where were you to protect these survivors? So do me a favor. Shut your yap. Trump failed to nominate him or any other permanent replacement, and after 120 days, the district court appointed Berman to the job. Oh, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they're all buddy-buddy, right? I'm sure they're going out for scotch every night. Or let's go over to the steakhouse. Because we all know it's WWE, right? We all know that it's a performance in front of the microphone, and then the good old boys club when the lights are off and the microphones are turned off. We know that. In refusing to go quietly, Berman declared the office's investigations continue unabated. That would include the investigation into the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. And now you'll understand where the article's at by the context and what they talk about going forward here. It's all about Giuliani and this and that and the other thing. Well, I think it's important that we track that down. Look, I don't care who is committing corrupt crimes. Whoever they are, they should be investigated, and if they're guilty, prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. With that said, I think what Jeffrey Epstein was up to, and I think the criminal enterprise that he was running, is a little more important than Rudy Giuliani. So how about more than just a couple of words about Jeffrey Epstein in the article? What do you think, ABC News? Maybe you're busy covering again for one of your buddies. Like George Stephanopoulos, your superstar over at your network, who likes to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein, or used to like to hang out with him, I should say, and was there after Epstein was convicted. These are the kind of people that are hired at ABC, so I shouldn't expect much more. Berman's ouster is likely to send a shockwave through Washington, as it comes ahead of the release of former National Security Advisor John Bolton's book, in which Bolton details an exchange that Trump had with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan about the Southern District. oh no, we have spycraft again. Again, the focus off of Jeffrey Epstein and onto these conversations that can't really be proven. They sound salacious as hell, right? Oh my God, this is dark. This is crazy. Oh, this is it. And then it comes down to he said, she said. Remember, folks, I don't know how many times I have to say it, but remember, it is not what we think we know. It is what we can prove. According to Bolton, after Erdogan handed Trump a memo saying that a Turkish firm under investigation by SDNY was innocent, Trump told Erdogan he would take care of things, explaining that the Southern District prosecutors were not his people, but were Obama people, a problem that would be fixed when they were replaced by his people. Well, I don't doubt that Trump had that conversation, to be honest with you. Why would I doubt that, considering all we know about Trump and his belligerence and his loudmouth activity? We know he's always having conversations such as these. But can we prove it? All of a sudden, John Bolton's a credible witness. The war criminal John Bolton, the walrus, is now a credible witness? Sorry, I don't believe neocons. I don't believe neoliberals either, to be honest with you. Additionally, as ABC News has previously reported, Berman's office is believed to still be actively investigating the president's personal attorney, Giuliani, related to his contacts with Lev Parnas and Igor Fruman, two central characters in the Ukraine impeachment scandal. Not one word of Prince Andrew, not one word of Ghislaine Maxwell, bupkis. And is this going to be the legacy media strategy? Bury it once again by frothing at the mouth over these moves instead of really paying attention to what's going on behind the scenes? There is levels to this shit. One move always comes before the other. It's just like a game of chess, and that's what's going on here. We're seeing the game board be completely reshaped and reshifted right before our eyes. And they think they can get away with it. They truly believe that they can continue with their political games and their nonsense and their lying and their covering for people like Jeffrey Epstein by muddying the waters and causing all sorts of chaos. The plan's not going to work, though. You see, it doesn't matter who the prosecutor ends up being at the SDNY, because the demands are the same. Prosecute, indict, and sentence. Those are your only choices. It doesn't matter if it's Berman. It doesn't matter if it's the Audrey person. It doesn't matter who it is. That is your only option at this point. Because, folks, I have to tell you, nobody on either side of the aisle, nobody with the pitchforks or the torches, believes anything that the Department of Justice is saying. And if they continue with the behavior that we see day in and day out within the Jeffrey Epstein case, there will be no chance that the Department of Justice can operate going forward as an institution without complete and utter reformation. Because what we see on a daily basis and what we see occurring in our legal system, it is not sustainable. Each day that goes by that these people are not brought to justice and the political infighting continues, the less and less we believe in the Department of Justice, their narrative, and everything that they supposedly stand for. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All right, everybody, I hope you all enjoyed your Saturday night. If you guys are out drinking, partying, having a good time, Please be safe. Do not drink and drive. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll do it all over again.